Welcome back, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. My name is Jason. I'll be your host on this CFL talk show, Hussey's Huddle. In this video, I'm going to touch on a variety of topics from around the CFL, kind of just do a little bit of a news roundup, kind of miscellaneous kind of items here. We have a trade to talk about. We have a couple of major re-signings from a team that really wasn't too active prior to this that I didn't really talk about in my re-signings video earlier this week. And then we're also going to talk about this survey that has just came out about the demographics surrounding the CFL and just touch on some of my thoughts on that. But really quickly before we get started, if you want to support the channel, the best way to do it is by hitting the like button and subscribing to Hussey's Huddle for more CFL content just like this. I greatly appreciate it, guys. And with that said, let's get on with the video. So the first item on the agenda here is we kind of have a semi-major trade between the Edmonton Elks and the Montreal Alouettes, with veteran tackle Tony Washington going to the Edmonton Elks, going back to where he began his CFL career with Edmonton. I believe he won a Grey Cup there in 2015. He seemed pretty excited on Twitter to be going back there. And then in exchange for him, the Montreal Alouettes received Mike Moore, defensive lineman who was an all-star in 2019, had a bit of a down year this year. But I think this is a very good trade for both teams. I think with Edmonton, they really needed offensive line help. He is a starting left tackle, Tony Washington is, in the CFL. He struggled with injury issues the last couple of years, but when he's in there, he's one of the better tackles in the CFL, and I think it's worth gambling on if you're Edmonton. And all you had to give up was Mike Moore, who again had a down season in 2021, one of the several underperforming veterans. And for Montreal, this reunites Mike Moore with Almondo Sewell. They were a great defensive tackle combo in 2019. And I'm really excited to see what those two guys can do now that they're reunited. Also going to the Elks in the trade is return man Martese Jackson, who, again, has been primarily return man throughout his career. Just kind of a throw-in in this deal, a little bit extra value for the Elks. To give up a player in Mike Moore, again, that was an all-star as recently as 2019. So, again, I think this is a win-win for both sides. I think they're worthwhile assets on both sides of this deal. And I think it just makes sense, again, for both teams. Next on the agenda here, we have a couple of big re-signings for the Hamilton Tigercats, my favorite CFL team. And first and foremost, you got to talk about Dane Evans. And I didn't really have a chance to talk about this early in my re-signings video the other day because this happened after I put out that video. But this is just a huge decision by the Hamilton Tigercats organization, effectively choosing Evans over Jeremiah Mazzoli going forward because they're not going to be able to bring back both of these guys. I think this was honestly the clear choice for the Hamilton Tigercats, as I mentioned in my predictions video for who was going to be the starting quarterback for every CFL team entering 2022. Because Evans was a lot younger than Mazzoli, I think even had more potential. A very effective quarterback, I think, in the limited sample size we've seen from him in the CFL, has appeared in 2 Grey Cup games in as many seasons. So really excited to see what Dane Evans can do going forward as the future at quarterback for the Hamilton Tigercats, signing a 2-year deal. I think it was around $400,000 a season. I'll put the exact numbers up on the screen, but really excited to see again what he can do. And then joining him in re-signing with the Tigercats is veteran tackle Chris Vanzelle. And man, this guy is like the Andrew Whitworth. If anybody's watches the NFL, Andrew Whitworth is a very old offensive tackle in the NFL that's still playing left tackle at 40 years old. He's just a beast, one of my favorite players in the league. But Vanzelle, 38 years old, signs a 2-year contract here, 40 years old when he's done this contract. And I'm really excited to see what he can do. Hopefully he can stay healthy because he had a really tough time doing that this season. But when he was inserted back into the lineup late this season, it really made a big difference to this Tigercats offensive line. He allows them to do so much ratio-wise because they're allowed to start that Canadian at tackle, which is really hard to find. So I'm really happy that Vanzelle will be back in Hamilton for 2022 and probably 2023 with the 2-year contract extension. Really important for both of these guys, Evans and Vanzelle, to be back in Hamilton as they start trying to retain that core of the team that's made it to the Grey Cup the last 2 seasons. Now, finally, I just want to touch on this study that was done by this poll firm, Ledger, about the CFL and its demographics and their attitudes towards rule changes in the league. So I won't dive too much into the specifics of the survey. I will drop a link down in the description if you want to see all the statistical findings from the survey. But basically, the main takeaway that people are talking about today is that the younger demographic surveyed, 18 to 34, I think it was, if they were to change the rules to an NFL-style field, 4 downs, everything like that, everything in the CFL to those parameters, that they would see a significant increase in interest from that demographic. I think it was around 20%. But also that there would be a significant disagreement with an alienation of the age group that is 55 plus that already follows the CFL. And so you got a lot of debate going on Twitter, social media today around CFL circles. And my opinion on this is, and I don't think they really should change anything too fundamental. I've already spoken about this a few weeks ago when I was doing my Grey Cup recap. I believe that was the video I discussed this. But I don't think they should change anything too fundamental about the game. 3 downs, I think, is fine for now. But I do think they need to be doing stuff like this in terms of trying to dive into the market research about what fans want. And I'm taking marketing at school, and I don't want to sound like I'm talking out of my ass here. But I think that it's really important that the league finds what consumers want to see from the product on the field and makes adjustments accordingly. And obviously, I think this really needs to be extremely well researched before they do anything as drastic as change the number of downs or the field size and whatnot. But I do think that the CFL is in a position financially that they need to find what is the most advantageous way to move forward and really find a way to make the league viable in the long term. So I think nothing should be off the table. Market research needs to be done on everything, every alternative, and really find out what people want and really weigh, the alternatives in every sense of the word. So that's all I'll say about it. I'm not suggesting that you change everything fundamentally. I think the CFL was great, and I really love so many aspects about the game. But I do admit that the business side is struggling a lot, and I think that alternatives need to be considered down the road for the long-term viability of the league. That being said, I do agree with the people that have said that marketing is a big part of the problem in the CFL. I think they just need to increase their presence in the community, their advertising, just be in people's face and be present more to grow the league in the future, especially among people that have never followed the league before. I think the footprint just needs to expand. And, I think that's part of the solution here. But I think, like I said, the league needs to look at everything, including potential rule changes, minor rule changes here or there, potentially fundamental ones down the road if, again, that market research tells them that that is the best route to go from a business standpoint for long-term success. But those are just my 2 cents, guys. Be sure to let me know what you guys think in the comments section. And with that said, that is going to be the end of this pretty short video here. I know it was kind of all over the place, a few different topics, kind of a miscellaneous video here, but I just kind of wanted to cover the few things that have happened the last 48 to 72 hours here. But be sure to let me know about any topics that were covered in this video, your thoughts on all of that. And with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Hope everyone has a good one. Peace.